All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the hard data, the tactics, and the deep history that build the case for Real Madrid being, well, the absolute greatest soccer club in history. Whether you're a lifelong fan of the sport or just someone fascinated by how sustained greatness is actually achieved, the sheer longevity of this club's dominance is a masterclass in success. To keep things completely objective, we're breaking this down into four key areas: Kings of Europe, Galacticos and goal records, tactics of a three-peat, and finally, comparing elite soccer clubs. So let's kick things off with Section 1, Kings of Europe, and their unmatched European and domestic success.
15. That is the jaw-dropping number of UEFA Champions League titles sitting in their trophy cabinet. To really put that into perspective, their dominance actually kicked off the second the tournament was born in 1955. They didn't just win that very first cup, they absolutely ran away with the first 5 editions in a row. It's crazy. That early run literally cemented their DNA as the benchmark of European soccer, long before most clubs even figured out what continental competition was all about.
And it isn't just the European Cup. Their overall dominance is staggering. We're talking 35 international titles, 36 La Liga championships, and 20 Copa del Rey titles. But look at that last bullet point right there: 8 consecutive Champions League semifinals. Think about how incredibly hard that is. That isn't just a lucky season. That is a relentless, suffocating level of consistency at the absolute pinnacle of the sport.
Moving on to Section 2, Galacticos and goal records, and the real power of star-driven direct play.
You know, you don't win all those trophies without players, and Real Madrid has a very specific philosophy for building a squad. Enter the Galacticos policy. It translates to galactics, literally players who are just out of this world. This recruitment strategy started by bringing in absolute pioneers like Di Stefano and Puskás back in the day, and later evolved to grab modern global icons like Zidane. The game plan? Make sure you always have unmatched, blinding star power on the pitch while simultaneously building an absolute monster of a global brand off the pitch.
And you want to see the result of that policy? Just take a look at this list of their all-time top goal scorers. Guys like Benzema and Raul put up historic, legendary numbers. But then, there's Cristiano Ronaldo sitting at number 1. He is a literal statistical anomaly. 450 goals in 438 games. That is a greater than 1 goal-to-game ratio over nearly a decade. It's almost hard to wrap your head around. It just perfectly validates that Galacticos approach. Buy an astronomical talent and watch them literally shatter records.
But look, a true dynasty isn't built just on flashy signings and massive transfer fees, right? It takes an insane level of dedication. 18. That is the number of seasons Paco Gento played for this club. He racked up 600 appearances and won a record 6 European Cups as a player. It's a huge reminder that beneath all that glitz and glamour, the core of this club relies heavily on guys who dedicate their entire athletic lives to the white jersey.
All right, Section 3, Tactics of a Three-Peat, specifically Zinedine Zidane's 2016 to 2018 masterclass.
Let's zoom in a bit from those macro stats and look at the actual micro tactics. How exactly did Zidane's squad win 3 Champions Leagues in a row? Pulling off a three-peat in the unforgiving modern Champions League was basically thought to be impossible. Nobody had done it since the 70s. It didn't just take 11 great players. It required a perfectly balanced, hyper-specific tactical machine.
So here's how that machine actually worked on the grass. Zidane used a fluid setup that often shifted into a 2-4-4 shape when they went on the attack. Step 1, he leaned heavily on his fullbacks, Marcelo and Carvajal, pushing them incredibly high up the pitch to stretch the defense. Because they were essentially playing as wingers, Step 2 meant a midfield anchor had to drop back and cover that massive empty space to prevent counterattacks. Step 3, a deep orchestrator picks up the ball to launch pinpoint passes. And finally, Step 4, those elite forwards wait in the box to pounce on the absolute barrage of crosses coming in.
The absolute heart of this whole operation was the midfield engine. This specific trio made the magic happen. You've got Toni Kroos pulling the strings from deep, hitting an absurd 94% pass accuracy and launching over 6 long balls a game. Then Casemiro is your defensive anchor, just destroying opposition plays with over 4 tackles a game while the fullbacks pushed up. And then Luka Modric is your space creator, using his unbelievable dribbling to pull defenders out of position. This perfectly balanced trio was, without a doubt, the operational heart of the dynasty.
There's a great quote from the World Football Index that hits the nail right on the head here. These world-class luxury players could not win on their own and needed players such as Carvajal and Casemiro to balance the side. It's so true. That gritty, unglamorous defensive stability was the secret ingredient. It essentially built a fortress at the back so the attacking superstars had the ultimate freedom to just go and do their thing. And because that perfectly balanced system provided such elite service, Cristiano Ronaldo was freed up to do what he does best. He scored an astonishing 21 goals purely in the knockout stages across those 3 campaigns. Seriously, think about that for a second. 21 goals against the literal best teams in the world in do-or-die matches when the pressure is absolutely suffocating.
Which brings us to Section 4, comparing elite soccer clubs, offering an objective contrast in world soccer.
Context is everything, so to truly grasp the scale of this dynasty, we have to contrast them with other giants. Take their biggest domestic rivals, FC Barcelona. It's a fascinating clash of philosophies. While Real Madrid leans hard into that direct, big-money Galacticos approach for instant global star power, Barcelona historically relies on a beautiful, possession-based style rooted deeply in their La Masia youth academy. 2 incredibly successful teams, but totally opposite ideologies on how to build a winner. And if we look beyond Spain to powerhouses like Manchester United and Bayern Munich, the contrast changes again. Those clubs have built absolute fortresses at home, holding incredible domestic records in England and Germany, backed by top-tier financial and youth setups. But Real Madrid's distinct superpower, it's their unmatched, almost inevitable dominance on the European stage. That continental success is what ultimately fuels their superior global influence.
So, wrapping this all up, the anatomy of the Real Madrid dynasty comes down to this exact cocktail: an unparalleled mountain of European trophies, the undeniable, blinding star power of the Galacticos, the perfectly balanced midfield tactics of managers like Zidane, and maybe most importantly, a club culture built on a fighting spirit, this deeply ingrained belief that no matter the odds, they are never ever truly out of a game.
Which leaves us with the pretty fascinating question. As the global game evolves, getting more obsessed with data analytics and rigid tactical systems, is this star-driven Galacticos blueprint future-proof? Will raw star power, paired with tactical balance, keep them on top? Or is a brand new tactical philosophy waiting just around the corner to finally dethrone the kings of Europe? Well, that's definitely something we'll be watching closely. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and keep questioning the data behind the dynasties.